Kevin?
We are now.
Okay.
Hey, Cal.
I'd like to welcome everyone on behalf of the board tonight. And I know it's a snowy night and a wintry night, but we're just glad we're able to meet with Zoom tonight. And I appreciate everybody and making the effort to get online and have this meeting. And if you would, let's please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Fine, George.
You sure do you?
Be seated, please.
Okay, it's fine.
Do we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Isaiah Davidson, so move.
Motion by Mr. Davidson, second by,
Well, he said it's fine, so.
do we have a second to approve the agenda?
Second.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Joyner. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passed. Are there any additions to the agenda? If not, move on. Next item is the consent agenda, and we have one field trip that has been signed off on that needs to be added, and we'll have a 3-year Skyward contract that has been approved by everybody. And we'd like to add it into the consent agenda without any objections. Would anyone like to remove any item for discussion? If not, do we have a motion to approve it?
So move.
Motion by Mr. Shipley, second by
I'll second.
Oh.
second by Mr. Clark. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passed. Director of Instruction report, Dr. Byrd.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight, we want to start by congratulating Miss Lisa Vest. She is our American Fidelity Teacher of the Month for February. Miss Vest teaches 4th grade ELA and Social Studies at Atoka Elementary. She was nominated by her principal, Miss Rose, and she is very deserving of this recognition. I've known Miss Vest for a long time, taught with her, and then worked with her at Atoka, so she is very much deserving of the recognition. And Miss Vest has joined us on the Zoom tonight, along with her principal, Miss Rose, and assistant principal, Dr. Corey Conkus, has also joined us on the Zoom tonight. And Miss Vest, just to let you know that you will receive your award and certificate next week, since we couldn't meet in person tonight. American Fidelity will deliver that to you at Atoka Elementary one day next week. But we just appreciate your hard work. Thank you for everything you do, and want to say congratulations to you tonight.
Thank you, and thank you all.
Yay.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Congratulations, Miss Vest.
so much.
The next thing that I want to do, Kevin, if you will share the PowerPoint with the board, please. We have 15 teachers who have been awarded tenure, and as per our policy, we're going to publicly recognize them. Again, we're doing this by Zoom tonight. And these are the 15 teachers who received tenure this year. Kevin, if you'll go ahead and advance the slide, please. We have Miss Jennifer Cole, Atoka Elementary School, Kristen Lockhart, Atoka Elementary, Aaron Berryhill, Austin P. Elementary. Kevin, go ahead. Crystal Knight, Austin P. Elementary, Mary Jackson from Brighton High School, Jimmy Campbell from CIAA, Mr. Marty Price, Covington High School, Amy Schrum, Covington High School, Heath Hoffman from Crestview Middle School, Rebecca Massengill, Munford Elementary, Yamina Tunstall, Munford Elementary, Rex Kelly, Munford High School, Mary Sherrill, Munford High School, Denise Muddigan, Munford Middle School, and Dr. Michael Jones, he is system-wide. We certainly want to congratulate those 15 people who have received tenure this year. We would also like to say congratulations to our district level teachers of the year for 2021. Pre-K through 4th grade, we have Miss Amanda Berryman from Austin P. Elementary. Grades 5 through 8 is Jennifer Botticello from Munford Middle School. And grades 9 through 12 is Miss Heather Keith from Munford High School. The Tennessee Department of Education recently shared information regarding districts whose CTE programs received Tennessee Pathway certification. And this was done by implementing high quality education to career pathways. And we're excited that nursing at all 3 of our high schools have received this recognition. So we want to congratulate Brighton High School, Covington High School, and Munford High School on the Tennessee Pathway certification recognition. And the last thing in my report tonight, Dr. Combs has asked us to share information with you on the 4 new legislation bills that were recently passed. So I'm going to discuss the learning loss bill, and then I'll pass it along to Ms. Shipley, Ms. Marion Samuel, and then Dr. Combs is going to share one of the bills as well. The first one, as I stated, I'm going to talk to you about is the learning loss bill, and you should have received a copy. I think Dr. Combs is going to email you, or he or Ms. Melinda One emailed you a handout today. If you haven't gotten that, I'm happy to send it again if you just let me know. But beginning with this summer, the learning loss bill requires all districts to offer learning loss remediation summer programs for students in elementary school and middle school. We will have to administer a pre and a post test, and those results will have to be reported to the state by September the 1st. And none of that data is included in accountability. It's just for them to measure the effectiveness and growth of students through the summer program. I'm not going to read through the entire handout with you, but I just want to highlight a few things. For the elementary school, the summer program is 5 days a week for 6 weeks. It is a 6-hour day. For the middle schools, same 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, but it's 4 weeks for grades 6 through 8. In addition to the summer programs, there's also an after-school summer learning mini camp for the next 2 summers. That's 1 hour a day with a focus on STREAM, and that will be at the elementary level. And then after the next 2 summers, so beginning with summer 2023 and beyond, we will be required to offer what's called a learning loss bridge camp, and that will be for rising 4th through 8th graders. Just to make you aware, the priority students that will be invited to, or students who will be given first priority for summer school, are those who score below proficient in math or reading on the last TCAP test or another screener that's approved by the state. Students who attend a school where less than 50% of the students are proficient in math are also eligible to be invited to attend, and students eligible for TANF benefits, but student participation is optional. And the state will fully fund the learning loss remediation summer programs for all priority students who enroll. Classroom teachers will receive a stipend of no less than $1,000 a week if they agree to teach in the summer program. And there will be some training offered to them through the department. A couple of other things. There's also something called Tennessee All-Core Network of tutors that's supposed to be provided through this bill. And it will be tutoring through the summer as well as through the school year. So we're learning a little bit more about that almost daily. And then the last thing is starting in school year 22-23, so a couple years down the road, the state is going to require us to look critically at 3rd grade students who score below or approaching on the ELA TCAP assessment and offer them some type of additional support or services. And that could be summer school, participation in the Tennessee All-Core that I just told you about, retesting, or retention. So that is a brief summary of the learning loss bill, and I'm going to pass it now to Ms. Shipley.
Good evening, everyone. So my part is the Tennessee Literacy Success Act. So that requires a board policy framework that engages different stakeholders to improve literacy rates in Tennessee. Those new expectations require us to have a plan in place for measuring and reporting the efforts to improve literacy rates. And it's grounded in foundational literacy skills. So a lot of these things that it asks us to do, we've already done, but we'll just have to put it in a different format and get it all approved. So the transparency and planning portion, and you have this in your packet. We are required to develop a plan of how we're going to address literacy in our school system. That has to be approved by the Tennessee Department of Education and then reported publicly to provide transparency. So I suspect we'll probably put that on our website once we develop that. Then we work on the measurement and reporting. So school districts will begin to administer a universal screening for all of our students in K through 3 times a year to identify any deficits, which we already do that. We have Easy CBM that we do that with already. They will provide one for us, the State Department will. So we're not sure if we will continue with our Easy CBM that we're used to, or if we'll go with the one that they provide. Also, those will be reported to families, which we already do that also, but we're going to make sure that we're doing that with complete transparency. Also, there's a teacher training and professional development portion. All teachers that are currently teaching K through 5 must complete at least one professional development course on foundational literacy skills approved by the Tennessee Department of Education. So right now, our teachers are already in a letters course if they teach grades K through 3. And we are giving them a stipend of $1,000 for their additional work on that, because they have to do a lot of work outside of the regular school day, preparing for that course. So that is something that they'll have to do to renew or advance their license. And then finally, this act also works on teacher preparation programs as far as our secondary institutions, such as colleges, making sure that the teachers are trained on foundational literacy skills. And that is all of my report. Y'all have any questions about the Tennessee Literacy Act?
All right,
Thank
Miss
you, Ms.
Marion.
Shipley.
Miss Marion, if you'll present yours.
I'm going to talk to you about accountability. So the accountability hold harmless law was passed by the Tennessee legislature. The purpose is to hold the district, the schools, teachers, and students harmless from the negative consequences resulting from the 2021 TCAP assessments. Those assessments include grades 3 through 8 achievement, high school end of course, the WIDA assessment, and that's what our English learner students take, as well as the MSAA, or the alternative assessment for our special population students. So this hold harmless would include no letter grades being issued for schools. Student growth scores would not be used for teacher evaluations. If the teachers were required to submit a portfolio, they have the option of not submitting. And let me just say that Dr. Bird and Ms. Shipley are working on a teacher survey for that. And if they do decide to participate, it can only count if it helps the teacher. And we would also have flexibility as to what percent the test would count on the student's final grades. And that includes not counting at all. So all of this is hinged on two things. Number one, the state has submitted a waiver request to USED. That waiver request was submitted on February 1st. And we hope that we'll hear something on that relatively soon. And then the other piece is we have to test 80% of our students. And as long as we get that 80% participation rate, then we will be held harmless. And that's the synopsis of the accountability hold harmless law. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Marion.
Yes, sir.
Right, and then Dr. Combs is going to present the last one, and that'll be the end of my report, Mr. Marty.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, y'all, I'm going to talk about teacher pay. That was in the appropriations bill. That was the last one in there. I think I either sent that to you in an email or as a link. I don't remember, but the General Assembly appropriated funding to provide an increase equivalent to a 2% increase of the instructional component of the BEP for this school year. Now, keep in mind, that was backdated to January 1. So that 2% increase that they put in there is really a half a year increase. It backdates to January 1 and goes through the end of June. So if it's 2% based on their annual salary, then really that's only 1% that they sent. And of course, in true form, you know, they didn't send us enough to cover everyone who is above the BEP here in Tipton County. So I believe that Ms. Peggy is going to cover that in her report as far as what we're going to be able to do to give everybody that 2% half-year non-recurring increase, which, you know, is going to be a bonus. So the appropriations piece called for it to be a 2% increase, but a non-recurring increase. So, you know, obviously that's going to be a bonus. He's talking about legislation later for next year that could be possibly a 4% increase, but that hasn't gone before the legislature, nor has it obviously been signed into law. So the 2% increase, the instructional component of the BEP, is not equivalent to a 2% salary increase for all teachers. The exact amount of money available for educator salaries or other bonuses has been sent to the districts and will be distributed at their discretion. That is read straight from the appropriations language from the bill. So Ms. Peggy will have that in her report. We do plan on giving, with y'all's approval, another one-time bonus, which is what this would be, but we're going to have to add a little bit of money to it to make it a 2% for everyone, 2% bonus for everyone, and she'll cover that whenever she does her report. And that's all I have on this part, unless someone has a question for me about the teacher pay.
Thank you, Dr. Combs.
Yes, sir.
Director of Operations, Dr. Fisher.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have three aspects on my report. So first, Mr. Glass will be talking about the PEBT cards. And then Mr. Morris will go over the bids for transportation for buses. And then Ms. Sherry Yarbrough will talk about our COVID numbers as they are. Y'all go ahead. Henry.
Okay. Dr. Fisher asked me to bring up about the rumors about round 3 of the PEBT cards that is going to be going to the eligible students, and they're either free or reduced students. This is going to probably impact about 5,200 kids in our system. Department of Human Service has contracted with a third party to oversee the distribution of the cards. Cards will be mailed directly to the home address of the students, just like round 2 was done. Right now, I do not have a schedule as to when the cards are going to be mailed out. And then another thing is that Tipton County Board of Education nor the schools will have to have any role with the distribution of the cards like we did when we did the first round. We are going to be sending the list of our students up to the Department of Human Services on February the 20th. And then after all school systems in the state of Tennessee have submitted their list of students, just like they have done previously, the Department of Human Services will have a press release, newspapers, also on TV, like they did last time, to inform the parents about how the program is going to operate. And then I'm also going to receive 3 phone numbers and a website, I'm sorry, a parent portal site. And what I would like to do, I'm going to share to try to make it easy at the central office and also the schools. I know they're going to have phone calls, but when a parent calls there and they tell them what their problem is, the telephone numbers that they will have will tell them which one they need to call. And they'll need to contact that third party that is handling distribution to answer their questions. Now, one other thing I'm going to plan to do also is to hopefully put this on the Tipton County webpage, the same information that the schools and central office is going to have, and hopefully the parents that access our webpage will be able to see that also and get that information. It might save a few phone calls. But that is all I know at this time. And as I said, our department's been working about 3.5, 4 weeks getting the list of these names ready to send up to Nashville. So are there any questions about the program from anybody? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Glass.
Hey, Jeff?
Okay, I think you have received the information on the bus bids. We opened bids on January the 29th at 10 a.m. We have 7 transit buses that are going out of service this year, and we're looking to replace those. We received a bid from Central States Bus, the Bluebird brand, 78 passenger transit. The cost is $98,997. Multiply that times 7, that's $692,979. You see the bid from Mid-South Bus Center, which is a Thomas brand. Theirs were $99,828 per unit for a total of $698,796. In addition to that, if we give them a letter of intent after today, they would increase that amount by $1,200 per unit. And then Cumberland International submitted no bid because they did not make the bus in which we bid. It's my recommendation that we go with the bid from Central States Bus, the Bluebird brand. They've also agreed to give us a $1,200 per bus credit for parts, which, would figure $8,400 in addition to this that we could use as a credit for parts purchases in the future. And they will take a letter of intent and not a PO by February the 26th. So it'd be my recommendation that we would purchase the Bluebird brand from Central States Bus.
What type engine does the Bluebird brand have?
They have you just made me go blank. All of them have the same engine, and I just went blank.
Is it a Cummins? This is the brand.
All
the
of them
brand
have
name
Cummins.
Cummins. They
engine.
are okay.
Right. All
okay,
of them.
that's good. That's good. Are there any questions about the bids? Do we have a motion to approve Bluebird as the bid for the 7 buses from Bluebird?
I'll make a motion to do it.
Motion by Mr. Joyner. Do we have a second? Who seconded that? I'm sorry.
I said
I'm
I
sorry.
second.
Okay, Ms. McClurkin, second. Are there any other questions about it? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, no. The motion passed to accept Bluebird's bid. Thank you, Mr. Morris.
Thank you. I've got one other thing that I just
Okay.
wanted to bring before you. We've got some extra inventory. Of course, we'll have some buses once these go out of service, in which we'd like to have an auction, probably to rid ourselves of some of the inventory that we have. I also have a couple of buses that we've utilized the parts from that are basically just scrap. And I know Miss Peggy reached out to the auditor several weeks ago, and he stated that as long as we got approval from the board, we could rid those few buses as scrap with your approval. We've utilized everything we can from those buses, and basically they're just shells sitting there. So we'd like to get rid of those as well.
Need to get some space.
Absolutely, yes,
We
sir.
have more room. I understand. Do we have a motion to
I
sell
saw
the buses, the bodies of the buses that are for scrap? We have a motion by Mr. Davidson. Do we have a second?
Second.
A second by Ms. Rozay. Are there any questions about it? Those in favor say aye,
Aye.
and those opposed, no. The motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all I have.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Ready? Good evening. I just gonna give y'all a couple of updates on the COVID numbers. The week of February 1st, we had 14 positive students and 3 positive staff members with 67 students in quarantine. So our numbers went down a little bit from the week before. This past week, we're short a couple of days, but we've had 7 positive students and 4 positive staff members. So that's about half of what we had before. So we're right doing exactly what the county is doing. Their numbers are going down, well, so are our numbers going down. Teachers are still doing a really good job with social distancing. We haven't had to quarantine big groups of students unless it's ball teams lately. But I think we're doing a really good job with that in the schools. One of the things that I'm keeping up with now, it's a little bit harder now, is the vaccines. Just to let you know how they're going with our school employees. I did a survey recently and I got 279 responses. Out of those 279, 88 teachers or employees were not interested in having the vaccine at all. 96 wanted it. So we've got 65 scheduled and completed. And I've got 31 scheduled for tomorrow. So we're doing very well with getting teachers in. The health department has been calling me now and they'll say, who you got? I send them a list, we set them up and they go. So if any teacher or school employee is interested in getting the COVID vaccine, we have openings now. And I've sent out an email today and I've got like 31 signed up for tomorrow, but there's still some space if anybody knows of anybody still trying to get in. Any questions?
Well, it's good that the numbers are going down, and I know it's been a tremendous year, and we appreciate everybody that has worked hard to get these numbers down, and I know it's been a struggle for everyone. So thank you all. Thank you, Ms. Yarber.
You're welcome.
Next is Ms. Peggy Murdoch with a financial report.
Good evening. I hope you all have all the paperwork that you need for me. The first thing is the bids that have come in for the Russ grant. If you remember, Dr. Fisher, Lisa, Bradford, Mayor of the several people put this grant together, and Melissa Chipman received all of the bids. And if you can see on your sheet, the in-care cost for $1,104,654. Howard was $922,374. Thomas Consultants $1,126,641, and Tierney $2 million. They must think very highly of themselves. $2,142,840. And Melissa Chipman is requesting that you approve the in-care because they are the only one that has the Zoom licensing model that they need in order to complete this Russ grant project.
Okay, we've heard the request. Do we have a motion? Do we have a motion to approve the in-care bid?
So move.
Motion by Mr. Shipley. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Davidson. Are there questions? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Those opposed, no. Motion passed.
Thank y'all. So if you'll look at your financial report next, we'll look at Fund 141. Fund 141 receipted $8,086,329, 9.5% of their budget. And they expended $6,475,956, which is 7.4%. So we're running very close to what we were last year. If you'll look at the differences between, they're very, very similar. Any questions on 141? All right, federal budget 142. They received 489,947, 5% of their budget, and they expended $484,749, another 5% of their expenditures. So they're spending just what they got. Any questions on 142? All right, so the cafeteria budget 143, they received $297,112, 5.2% of their revenue, and they expended $384,205 for 6.7% of their expenditures. Any questions on the cafeteria? All right, capital improvements, Fund 177. Of course, we had no receipts. They spent $55,882 this month for a total of $527,103 that they have spent thus far. Any questions on the 177?
We can go ahead and approve this financial report, then we'll go to the amendments, okay?
Yes, sir.
Do we have a motion to approve the financial report as presented?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Joyner, second by?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Clark. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion passed.
All right, so the amendment is what Dr. Combs was referencing. We are going to be giving a 1% bonus to all full-time employees. We're going to pay that on March the 31st. So they'll be getting that right in the middle of spring break, I believe. And so if you'll look at your report, you'll see that we have no revenue to add. Dr. Combs said that $414,000 will be coming to cover this. The total of what this is going to cost is $611,000. But if you remember, when we first got our new budget approved, we were using the information from April, and then the BEP funds were cut by $600,000. So there was senseless to add $414,000 when we aren't even going to receive what we have in our budget because of the negative effect on the second estimate that we got from the state. So we're going to take all of this $611,000 from our existing budget, pulling it from different spots where there's a little bit of extra money. So if you'll just hang with me, I will tell you what we're doing. All right, so on page 2, you can see that we're going to use $142,000 from regular teacher salaries that we have a little extra money in there. We're adding $290,000 for the actual bonus, and we're going to take $300,000 from our textbook, thanks to the ESSER money that's coming. So the next area, we've got $6,300 that's going to be added to the alternative schools budget. And we're hoping that each grouping or each category is going to be able to take care of their benefits, all except for maybe one or two. So you'll see that all we're going to be adding for the most part is going to be the actual bonus dollars. So on page 3, you can see that we're going to take $50,000 from the teacher line in 71,200, and then we're going to add 71,000 for their bonus, and their benefits will be taken care of by the leftovers that they have in there. In the vocational education, we're adding 17,000 to the vocational grouping. The adult education, because it's a grant, we're going to add the few dollars that are represented there, $300 for the bonus, $20 for Social Security, $15 for retirement, and $5 for Medicare. They're on a very tight budget. And then for health services, we're adding $900 for their bonus payment. On the on the other student services, 72,130, we're adding $11,000 for their bonus. And then in the 72,210, we're going to take $4,000 away from the supervisor's line, $10,000 away from the material supervisor that we're not using that at all this year, adding the $22,000 for the bonus payments, and then adding $1,400 for Social Security, $2,250 for retirement, and $350 for Medicare. On the special education supervisor's line, we're taking $20,000 from clerical personnel. $5,300 is being added for bonus payments. On the 72,250, we're adding $2,600 for the bonus payments. We're going to take away $11,690 from legal services. Hopefully we'll be able to manage without that. $1,850 is going to be added for the Office of the Superintendent bonus. Principals, we're taking $3,000 away from their salary line, putting $47,000 in for the bonuses for that grouping, $2,900 for Social Security, and $1,000 for retirement. Fiscal Services, we're taking away $3,750 and adding $3,750 into the bonus line. $11,000 added to maintenance of plant for their bonuses. $22,000 added to pupil services. And on page 7, $14,000 added to food services, $2,300 added to the community services, and $2,200 added to retirement, and $2,200 taken away from, or added to Social Security, and $2,200 taken away from retirement. And then in the early childhood education, we're adding $8,200 for their bonus, for a total of no difference between any of the dollars that we have. Revenue is going to be taken care of by the different expenditure lines that we've reduced. Are there any questions about that?
Oh, is that the amended budget?
That's it.
Oh,
That's to cover the 1%.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
Need a motion.
Do we have a motion to approve the amended budget?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Vincent. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Rozelle. Are there any questions? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion passed.
Is the other check in the mail, Peggy?
I'm not,
The bonus that's due this month, has that already been sent out or
it
processed?
should be in their banks at midnight. It should be in their banks.
Sweet, thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Peggy,
Sir.
Peggy, does that conclude your financial
Yes, sir.
reports?
Yes, sir,
Okay,
it does.
I had some more pages in front of me, and that's the reason I didn't ask for it most. I
That
thought
was
we had to go.
That was that Skyward 3-year approval
Oh,
that
oh.
you all had put in the consent agenda.
And then I saw some more. I might have printed it twice. I had a bunch of pages. I might have, I may have had more than you sent. So anyway, I apologize for not asking for the motion. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I have those same pages printed.
I do too. I mean, I had 14 pages. I think we went over about 8, but anyway, we got that done. So, is there any other business? Dr. Combs, I have a question that I think you could clarify for some folks. How do you determine if schools will be closed for inclement weather?
Mr. Chairman, that is an awesome question, and I appreciate you asking me that. So we have a crew of about 6 of us that drive the roads. We've broken the county down into equal parts, and we all drive those roads, whether it be the night prior or, usually as luck would have it, the weather will set in from midnight to about 5 or 6 the next morning. So that's generally whenever we get up and start driving and check those. We check overpasses. We check some of those back roads that, are kind of off the beaten path that most people don't check. We also call Central Dispatch. We call the EMA director, Tommy Donovan. Of course, we get National Weather Service advisories and those kind of things too. The biggest thing is that I will not make a school closure decision based on a weather prediction. We don't do that. A lot of our neighbors do that, but we don't do that. I mean, we're going to try to gather a few more facts and try to make an informed decision. That's why, quite frankly, many times our schools have been in session when some others haven't, because they've closed based on a prediction that didn't happen. So, we're going to check those things the night before and that morning. And, I've just kind of gotten used to social media is going to complain either way, and that doesn't bother me. I'm okay. So but I appreciate you asking me that, because we do, we want to get the kids in school if we can, but obviously we're going to also be safe. So we're going to make those checks and then make that decision. Frankly, I'd prefer to call it the night before and not get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and drive and check. But that works out better to be able to do that. So that's what we've been doing most of the time. Does that help?
That helps a lot. We get asked that question every now and then, and that's a good way to do it. That way you don't miss a day if you don't need to.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
It's a good. I like the way you do it.
Thank you.
Is there any other business?
I want to add one more thing. This is for Mr. Joyner. I know Mr. Joyner's asked about the tennis courts. I know we specifically have issues with the tennis courts at Munford High School and at Brighton High School. I believe Munford High School's tennis courts are the worst. Both of those courts have water under them. And as that water seeps up, it just continues to crack. We can resurface it, and it'll be torn up very soon after that, just because they're on a water table. And so it just gets wet. So I wanted to let Mr. Joyner know, and the rest of you, that we are trying a new product, and we're going to guinea pig 2 of the tennis courts at Munford High School with these new surfaces. They're actually roll-on surfaces. You roll these surfaces out over the top of the asphalt that's already there. You roll this over the top of it, and it's not or anything like this other does. It's a little more expensive. That's why we're only going to try it with 2 of the tennis courts at Munford High. We're going to see how it works, and then if it works well, it should be a lot more durable. Then we'll try it out at the other ones too. What do you think about that, Mr. Joyner?
Well, I hope it'll work. If it don't, we'll have to take them up and put some new ones down. But
yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the problem, is that where they said it just stays so wet.
Yeah.
We're hoping this new product helps. So we're gonna see how that works.
But they're gonna have, they're gonna have to really be fixed. I went up and looked at them in several places. You can just pick it up and lay it down. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. These surfaces are the ones that they're using at a lot of universities and some other areas. So we're hoping this works better. So we'll have something to tell you hopefully in the next couple of meetings.
Okay, that'll be fine.
Yes, sir.
Thank y'all.
Yes, sir. That's all I have, Mr. Marty.
Okay, does anyone else have anything? If not, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Joyner and a second by
Second,
Mr. Farrell. Those, anyway, we stand adjourned.